Welcome back, friends, to EU League. It's game number 2, and it's Rogue versus Pones. Pones at the bottom, and Rogue are close to making it to the top, and all they need to make it to Berlin and cash in that ticket is one more point, just like what happened with M&M, but will all be repeated, that same scoreline, or will Rogue make it through to Berlin? Well, it's up to us three boomers to kind of think about how that would go. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Alex. The medic. With us is Fresh and Fabian, and good friends of the show, and that is on the desk. And let's talk about these squads. First up, Rogue.
We love Rogue. We hope Rogue wins, so I don't have to dye my hair blue.
What was that again?
Yeah, okay, right, we'll stick it. I'm owning it. I said that if Pones win this fixture, I will dye my hair blue.
I'm lucky. I've never said anything of any sort of any team.
That's a lie, and I'm going to expose you on that.
Or anything.
What did he say?
Pink hair.
Yeah, what did he say?
I've not said anything.
Oh, come on.
I can't remember what he said. He said something about dyeing his hair pink. It was, if G2 get to the major, you was going to dye your hair pink.
I don't remember this.
There you go. I remembered very clearly.
I've got blue hair, you've got pink. How about that?
Okay. It's not going to happen. I don't remember saying that.
I'll talk about Rogue.
Trans flag between both of you. There you go.
Rogue are a really dynamic, aggressive team, and team is the optimal word there. They play together as a team, put a lot of investment in. You know, you'll see people pop off. You see Sploit pop off. You see Cryon pop off. You see Kanto pop off. But the investment into 4 players, into achieving those kills, is what makes Rogue really good. They play for the objective. They play for each other. And it's a really refreshing brand of Siege to watch.
And to build on to that, it's not always that they play 4 guys going for the same place.
Yeah.
It could be the 4 guys that are coming from all different directions, but they're doing it as a team. They're coming at the same timings, and they're kind of building on top of what another player in their team have already done. If one guy is pushing left, the other guy is pushing right, and the third one is going to be in the center, and you know all 3 of them will be there, it won't just be, well, a G2 sort of style where one guy comes after another. It's just entertaining to watch. I think that them together with Wolves have really been reinventing what Europe needs to be playing and what we need to move towards.
And you see that with some of their defensive setups as well. Really basic defensive setups that you would see in ranked. Everyone pick a good gun. That's why we see Leon play so much Alibi in Oryx. As long as he can do his rotates, doesn't matter what he plays.
Now, we talked about it with Leon last week about the alibi and how they like to set it up, and it really comes down to just the gun and the basic utility that allows you to move about so much with the team, and of course the shotgun secondary. But now on to Pones. Fabian, just a bit ago, around 10 minutes ago, you were saying, Pones not really the best here squad in the region. It's potentially one that Rogue can farm easy points against, that they need to get to Berlin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Pones is going to come and steal their lemons from their basket, if you put it that way.
Oh no, not from the lemon tree.
Not from the lemon tree. They're not going to steal those
biggest
lemons.
Investment.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Mission has been carrying them on his back, and if we look at the EPS and just all the statistics kind of show that Mission have really been taking them to the level that they're at now.
He's on Spoit levels of performance.
So it's kind of funny, right? We have this player who's the highest
top-the-rated player.
But it's just nobody else is remotely close, and sometimes they do really look like a good team. They have these moments, but unfortunately, moments aren't enough to win all the games. They need to step up basically on every single point.
There's so few and far between those moments that Fabian talks about, and I do think, I'll say it again, and I'll say it every single time I talk about Pones, their map pool is really what hinders them. They've got a 4 map pool, and even on the maps they do they've not got the best record.
Well, perfect timing then to talk about the map for this series. Again, best of 1 series is what we go through here in the EU League. And we're going to go to Clubhouse, a classic here. Pones, starting on the attack as Rogue have picked up the defense. Back in the day where where Pones were Team Empire and the old team, you would never want to take them to Clubhouse.
Yeah.
But this is a completely different squad, of course. So what do you think?
It is. So Pones, I mentioned that 4 map pool, is Villa, Oregon, Club, Cafe. So we're going to one of the maps Pones likes. The reason that Rogue have gone there is to try and defend their map pool for a bit. They're expecting they will pick up points in one of the next 2 games and go to the major. That's why they banned Chalet, because they've only played it once against, they've only played it once. The same with Oregon, they've only played it once against Secret. They're trying to pocket their maps away, and they're happy to go to Clubhouse, given that Rogue have played it the past 2 play days against really strong opposition and won 1 of them. So they're giving Pones a bit of a sniff, but I would still expect Rogue to come out on top.
It's like every single player in Rogue is individually better in terms of fragging potential than what we have in Pones. The only person that I can, again, we come back to a Mission, he's the only one this stage that's really been able to put on the big boots and show how it should be played. unfortunately for them, Rogue have 5 players that can do exactly the same thing. So it's just like toss enough players at the mission, kill him, and then, well, the rest of the round will go your way.
The one last thing for me is I call this a Pones map. It's in their format pool, that I would say. But the last 3 times that they've played Clubhouse, they've lost all of them times playing Clubhouse, and they've only got 1 attack out of 5 in 2 of those. They're starting attack today, so they really need to. I think if Rogue starts stringing 2 or 3 rounds together, it's just going to be a landslide.
They probably will do just that, and it's Rogue is deciding the map. No matter how much we say, like, oh yeah, it's a Pones map. Rogue decided they wanted club today. They got club today because the ban phase is just so simple when you have a team that don't
Has
play
such a small pool.
And it's like if we go back to strats, because we have a little bit of a delay.
We have a moment.
Yeah, we're looking at strats and how Pones are playing, and the game that just shines through for me is the game that they played against on Border. Where it kind of looked like they had strats back from 2-3 years ago when I was playing Border. Like back that time, it was like not extending into CCTV enough. They hadn't really been tinkering with East stairs enough. They haven't expanded out of office. There was just so much old stuff that we saw. We need to see more re-innovation from them. Even if they expand their map pool, they can't do the old stuff. They need to do new things.
Well, in the meantime, Fabian, it's perfect timing because now our lobby is set and ready to go. So thank you so much, Fresh and Fabian. It's time for Pones versus Rogue. Can Pones bet against one of the top teams right now in Europe, or all that Rogue need is that 1 point? Can they get it? Our casters take you through it. It's Desinase. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milos. I am Esparra, of course, and joined this time in a little bit of a twist of fate. We've got Big Dez.
Well, I heard how good it was last time, Tim, for you. I thought, I've got to give this a go myself. I've got to say, it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's really weird.
It's really weird hearing you like that. I mean, I treat you as having, the voice of a higher being anyway. But, when that sound effect is actually applied, that's a little bit unnerving. A little bit unnerving. We're going to get into this, Des. It's going to be Clubhouse. It's Rogue versus Pones. 1 point and 1 point only. We'll see Rogue guaranteed for Berlin.
I didn't even realise I had the voice on, Tim. If I knew I had it on, I'd have got a bit more grandiose with that entry as well. But here we are. Oh, well, that's ruined. But hopefully this game is not. We've already had one massive spicy upset today. Outsiders in with a chance now of even getting themselves into the major. And no one would have thought that possible 2 or 3 play days ago. Pones not quite in such a fortunate position. But Rogue sorely need that 1 point here to at least lock themselves in. Is this the day that the Pones Jenga Tower comes crashing down on top of the boys in blue?
Rogue are going to take our first ban out of the way, and it's going to be
Shock.
Finker, directed at a mission, I would imagine. But also, you've got to think... Rogue, I think, played this smart here, Des. A lot of teams have had struggles getting attacking rounds. We've spoken about it. Fresh has spoken about it. The Analyst has spoken about it repeatedly. Struggling to attack. If you're a good defensive team, you're going to do well in EUL at the minute. Who's the most powerful on attack? Finker. Take her away, break that attack down even further. Hibana is going to be our second ban as well.
Yeah, I think the thinker to expand on that as well. Spoit been very, very vocal about how, air quotes, stupid that operator is. So they have zero issue taking it away and Spoit playing some variable operators in place of it instead. We've seen some teams running things like the Iana, who was the kind of go-to golden child until Finker became as powerful as she is. So I think Rogue is very, very comfortable to take that one off the board entirely. Looking to at least hinder Exodus, who's seen had some wicked plays on that operator in previous play days as well. Just hopefully takes the edge off the side of Pones and gives Rogue a little bit of a smoother defensive half.
Rogue are going to kick us off on the defence then, and it will be...
Kicking us out, are they, Tim?
Kicking us out, kicking everybody else out of Berlin. That's what they're looking to do here, kick out people from that number 2 spot, which is where they currently sit and where they're going to have their eyes on finishing. It's going to be Church and Arsenal to kick things off. It's going to be starting down in the basement. We've got Kanto on the Valkyrie. I always like the Valkyrie. We see a lot of bans, but those cams are just so powerful. No surprise. I was just going to say, when you've got that information feeding in for something like Nitro's in kitchen and Kanto runs into kitchen, whether a cam gets deployed there or not, we will see. But I would expect to see some success with explosives this round.
I really want to know just how pained Leon is that someone else on the team is playing Oryx. That's his boy. He loves playing Oryx, but Cry's the one getting out of the map and looking to cause some carnage. Spoy obviously on the alibi, Cancer on the Vault. Really, you're looking towards potentially 3 players being out here around the map. And I look back at previous games on this map, Tim, and I just remember teams that play super aggressive on defense have really thrived because this is one of those maps where if you give the attackers full leverage to say, hey, bring to bear all 5 of your operators on us, they're absolutely wonderful. Tim, we know how that train sounds. Into sight it comes. Kanto's looking to get the side stab. Finds one, finds two. Shuts so much of it down, but coming down the backside, Exodus is just ready. They're inside of sight here. WTG looking to find a couple more on the press through, but it leaves WTG entirely alone. Crying and Spoit bearing down on him. It was a good attempt out of Pones, but it feels like Rogue have dealt with it.
Yeah, they were just well aware there. They were ready for the potential of a rush. Kanto reacting beautifully. It doesn't really matter too much to them that WTG's got that diffuser down because they've got a situation for a two-man push here. They just need to split themselves up and push this together, ensure they get the trade, but they're not. They're in a position where they might just be giving WTG 1v1s there. As it is, Cryan manages to win the first of those 1v1s. He's going to get on to disabling that diffuser, and, well, if that sets us up for how this game is going to go, it's going to be a wild one.
I like it. I like the fact they've even had the attempts in the first place, right? That's the biggest one for me. Yeah, to have the confidence to say, right, rush time, all down blue, blitz shield on the charge through. I admire it. But Rogue, as we all have said so many times over, have got that unbelievable capability in all 5 players to just frag out at the right time. Not so much that all came down to fragging, but you know, whether you're in a 2 versus 2, you need to be having 2 more bodies on the side of Pones if you're going to find anything being equal in that round. Round 2, we go into bar and stage then, Tim. The air quotes offside that we do seem to be seeing more on lately.
Yeah, we certainly do. We've seen it a couple of times in our last few play days, and I think you could maybe touch over to what Fresh was saying a little bit. He thinks that Rogue have probably played into Clubhouse here just to cover up the map pool a little bit. They don't want to be, you know, showing too much of those outlying maps that they like playing, but that they want to save for best of 3s in the majors. Could be the same thing here. You know, you're on Clubhouse, you're giving a lot away. People, they know what to expect roughly, but if you play bar and stage a couple of rounds, maybe it's a couple of rounds you don't have to show the sights. It's marginal, but it's marginal gains that can win titles.
Keep on messing around with their comps as well. I'm looking back at what they played previously. I mean, on the basement sides, historically, you've seen Leon and things like the Azami. Obviously, that's banned away. They had to change things up. Spoit would play Mozzie, but yeah, the bans have very heavily influenced how Rogue have played this historically. And I think they are somewhat here today with that Azami being taken away. Clearly, Pones identifying, hey, they play this in pretty much every defensive round on this side, given the choice. Let's get it off the board, see what else they bring. For Leon so far, that's been the smoke, and it's been the Aruni.
Deepek going to be not on a roam, but out in bathroom at the minute, potentially playing towards that strip side. He's not going to get too aggressive, being that he's on the Maestro. Needs to be careful. Going to make plenty of sound if he tries to move over there. So instead, he's going to dip himself back into the middle of site. For the time being, Rogue are just keeping calm here. They're looking to see exactly what's coming out of Pones. Where is this attack going to come from? We've seen teams that have used strip-sided attacks recently, but we've also seen the more common push of trying to get in through East, cash CCTV, get yourself control of construction, breach through the stage wall and get the diffuser down there. Spoit just needs to be careful. He's going to find himself face to face with a Zafir if he's not, and as the wall is breached and blown open, he is indeed going to dip himself away.
You can see what he was looking for, though, hoping the Zofia was out in the open on that platform, still got the impacts in hand, not quite ready to go for a gunfight. It would have been a freebie, but smart play from Exodus to keep himself off towards the right-hand side of that breach. Behind the wall, safe and secure, not getting gunned down. So good start for both sides, good aggression out of Rogue. The Pones also playing it by the book.
Spoit probably won't know just how close he was to getting himself an opener then. Just taking a few shots around the server stack and not going to find anybody. Kantor still challenging from top red. This is an important position for Rogue right now because it prevents Pones from moving on. They can get themselves inside of cash if they can force Spoit away, and that will ensure that Kantor has to move, but he's not going to have an opportunity to move there. Somebody makes the way up. It's Exodus from red stairs. He's going to find that opener.
He has indeed. They broke it open with him, but they've lost so much time as well. To lose one man, have consumed 2 minutes. You're not going to feel too beat up about that if you are Rogue. Now, Nico's on the south side window here and looking to do a bit of work from there as well as Leon hits the deck. A 5 versus 3, and Pones looks like finally they might be in a bit of control here. But remember what I said last round as well, Tim. For Rogue, you've got to bring an extra +2 men to be able to deal with them. Question is this 5v3 absolutely enough?
We're going to find out in the next 40 seconds as WTG pushes in, manages to get Cryan. That leaves us now in a 2v5. Low health for Leon as he manages to find a kill onto Emission. Spoit still trying to hold on to that top floor and create a Ooh, that does create a problem as Diffuser goes down, but Spoit cannot keep himself alive long enough to be able to take advantage of it. It's either cutting him down in a quick trade, 1v3, 25 seconds left to go. The only hope that Rogue have got here for Leon, really, is that Pones have to rush things. They have to push in, and they expose themselves unexpectedly. He knows that there's one potentially playing around Billiard's window, but he's actually going to move away, and that is going to mean that the push comes from elsewhere. Lasergate is in support, and 10 seconds left to go. Leon might not be in a bad spot here. He's got one pushing in from main stairs. 5 seconds left to go. He just overextends, and Exodus nice and patiently waits and finds that final kill.
Yeah, very patient there. I got nervous for the last few seconds as we got into that final 5, and I was like, boys, no one's getting the diffuser down. They don't know 100% where he is, what's going on, but just about find that shot as Leon steps towards main stairs, understandably as well, and they bring us back up to 1-1. I think really the attacks here are going to be key. Knowing how well Rogue attack, you're going to want at least 3 on the board if your opponent's going into that second half.
What I'm concerned about for Rogue at this point, I'm not, we're early days here. I still, I predicted Rogue, and I still think, there's a very good likelihood that Rogue pick this one up. But, Rogue, as Fresh said, maybe have gambled on Clubhouse here, thinking, let's go to a map that Pones can play because we only need 1 point. 1 point in the next 2 play days is going to do it. But ultimately, you've got to get that 1 point. You've got to get it. It's no good saving maps for a tournament that you're not going to be at. And yes, there is, not much of a chance that Rogue don't make it overall. BDSG2 obviously needing to do a lot of work, but you just don't want to get pulled into that area. You don't want to be facing that match next week thinking, this is now a must win. This is we must pick points up here. So for me, Rogue, they need to just get a little bit of distance between themselves and Pones as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. And for me, it's one of those, you saw those stats at the bottom of the screen as well. I mean, look at the last game as well. Eminem, same spot as Rogue, basically guaranteed to be at the major, and Outsiders pull a dub out the bag. So you've got to be so careful of what Pones can get away with here. As it stands, though, we're going to see a round kicking off very similar to last time around. A little more investment in towards the east side of the map coming out of Rogue. Also got some control here inside of Catwalk, so it's going to be a rinse and repeat for Pones. Get control of that east side, look to force the defenders away. Hopefully no one trying to be too cheeky in the form of Spoit, which he is not. But it does mean you've got more obstacles to get through. Last time it took him about 1 minute and 50 seconds to get a single kill and get control of the east side. So if you double down on that strategy and waste even more time, you're laughing if you're Rogue.
Cryan and Kanto are holding on to Garage at the minute, top and bottom. Spoit just looking to take a peek, and that is very aggressive looking out of that breach down onto the garage door. Not going to find anybody. Cryan, I think, has, I won't call it abandoned, but he's been left to his position by Kanto. So he's going to be trying to hold on, likely for as long as he can in this round, basically. Spoit sees his man, he gets his opportunity. What an opener! And manages to escape with his life as well. Taking down Exodus. Nico does manage to get in and take down Cryan from Catwalk, though. So that is a big blow traded in each direction.
That just gives me major flashbacks of when Aces used to play for Rogue, and he just completing a slide, drive through that with that breach, swing out there, get someone for free out towards spawn. Spoit's playing it a little bit more coy, a little tighter angle there, but still gets the entry and gets away with a slither of HP. So a bit of a reverse of fortune. Sure, Cryan has gone down, but at least on Rogue side, they've burnt again 1 minute and 50 in this round and got themselves a kill this time. Much improved.
So they're getting aggressive on that Catwalk now, using the space that they have claimed for their own. But time is a factor again here, Des. We saw it go down to 5 seconds on the clock last round, round 2. This time, round 3. We're now at the minute mark, and they still haven't really got themselves properly established. WTG is outside of the building, looking to open construction wall. That's going to allow them to progress into there, but they're going to have 4 kills to find on site here, Pones, and there's still a mute jammer that needs to be dealt with. This is not looking fantastic right now. They've got a Thatcher on board. There's no excuses for struggling with these gadgets.
Absolutely not. Absolutely no excuse at all as well. And you look at it and think, well, why Thatcher here? They're not playing Kai, they're not playing Bandit. It's just the speed that it lets you move through the map, whether it's jammers, mozzie, pests, you name it. Just knowing that a lot of that utility is shut down, even temporarily, can be a massive deal for the attackers to really get some pace going. Speaking of pace, though, Tim, 20 seconds on the clock. 2 players here holding around Logi as Scyther tries to work his way forward. This could prove to be really rough. They know where the one man is. Swing comes out, but Scyther finds both. That shouldn't be happening. Now with 10 seconds on the clock, they're going to make their way forwards, going in for a vault. Emission finds another. Leon up the main stairs, but can he find his man? Doesn't have a C4 in back pocket here. He's got to go for a wide step out. Can't see the man in time. Scyther with a wicked round there to make sure Pones find number 3.
Pones now 2-1. How about that?
Dun, 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 dun.
20 seconds left to go. Interestingly, I've commented on this before. Fresh is watching from inside of the studio. So what we're going to do through this game is we're going to do a little sweat watch for Fresh, and I'm going to grade to what degree he is sweating, because obviously Fresh has committed to dyeing his hair blue should Pones win this encounter. They're 2-1. I'm going to give him a sweat factor of 3 at the minute. That's out of 10. He's not looking too concerned, but it's certainly on his mind. But he's not too worried just yet.
Fresh has got a real good poker face. He won't show he's worried right up until the last minute, and then he'll be sweating literal buckets. I think if Pones get many more attacks,
he might, because he knows that's where the trouble comes in.
Ubi will be concerned there's a leak in the roof and how much sweat will come dripping down his face, mate. Just watch out, it's all along the warn to you now. Whew. I mean, blue Fresh sounds pretty cool to me. What about you?
I'll tell you what, if this carries on, we might just find out. Rogue playing some, unusual defenses at the minute. So why you're getting aggro onto the breach, it's maybe a little bit too confrontational from them. They don't need to be throwing themselves into these rounds. You're on the defense of Clubhouse. Look for a 4-2. Take it easy. All you need is 1 point. Literally all you need is to get yourself to overtime, and you've done it. So I think, I'm not saying they're throwing rounds away, but just give Pones a little bit less space. 20 seconds left to go. You're 4v4. You can't be losing those rounds.
Absolutely not. But again, we're seeing much the same gameplay coming out from Rogue. 3 players looking to get out around the map, cause a little bit of chaos, and try and slow Pones down. And the thing is, Tim, they have slowed them down successfully. I'd actually wager the early round has gone pretty well. These last 2 rounds, like Siders 3K marching in through Logi, that is payback for last week when Crine had those 2 big clutches against Heroic. They should have been down 5-1. Instead, the score was 3-3 last week. So, Heroic, they died for Pones to find those rounds so far. I'm not saying it's all down to those big clutch plays, but it's definitely not doing them any disservice.
Certainly not. Cryan is up on the top floor with the Oryx, so we've got a nice spread defence here from Rogue, and it's going to have to be dealt with by Pones. I don't think they're going to be prepared for this as Cryan moves across, but he gets 1 in a direct trade. 4v2 though, however, as Kanto gets in on the action as well as Spoit with the opener, and that leaves us now Rogue in a much better position here for Church and Arsenal. 4v2, still presence outside of the map, but they must remember, and this is basically what I've been saying so far, Des, this job is not done yet. In this round, in this game, in this stage, they have to get it over the line. 2v3 and Pones fighting back.
This is what makes me nervous again. Rogue have had a great early round, and then I'm like, think about the last couple of times you said something like that. I know it's 3 versus 2. They have got the numbers advantage here. They've got a C4 and a shield to play behind. They've got 3 smokes. They've got so much on side here, Rogue, to hold off. The only thing really Pones have got going for them is the nades in back pocket and the clock. We've still got 75 seconds to play with. So sure, Rogue have got that early numbers advantage. You've got to be so careful, though, about this push that's going to come in from Pones.
They do. You know what? It takes 1 nade to go in, get a kill, and all of a sudden you're 2v2. And you've lost somebody for free because obviously, the nade is no real risk to be deploying like that. So if Pones play this smart, they could well find themselves in a favourable situation coming into the final seconds. There's 50 seconds left to go, and they are going to start working towards site. I mean, the big thing that Rogue have got on their side is there's not going to be any hard breach that's going to be done by this Pones side. So they know now that they're going to be working with doorways. They know that's basically what they need to watch. They're going to be funneled at these attackers, and they just need to wait for those fights to come. First Toxic Babe canister goes out. Second one, I think, is deployed. No, it's in hand. Leon just keeps triggering that animation, but that's going to be second one deployed, second one triggered, and that leaves us now 20 seconds left to go, and Pones, they're going to have to start pushing here. I feel like they've left this too little too late. They needed to have moved in and got a kill already at this point. 13 seconds left to go. Leon can hold down that blue angle for even longer. Sider might have an opportunity here if he can move quickly. That's going to take Leon's attention, but with 4 seconds left to go, this is not happening. They both get cut down. Deepek Kanto close it out. 2-2.
Leaving it there a little bit down to the wire, I think. If your push is really starting around the 5-second mark when you had 75 seconds to play with at the very start, there's a problem. So Pones there, I think, a little bit slow, a little bit unsure on exactly what the game plan was, but Rogue do well to hold their positions, plant their feet, and get those kills as the 2 players come running through. Gym and bedroom we go into. I think for Rogue, again, like I said earlier, on a 3-3 half, Pones will feel good. My concern is Rogue on attack can be absolute demons on this map, like genuinely terrifying to play against. You've only got to look at the game against Heroic where they didn't drop a single one of their attacking rounds. They were mixing in things like the Nook. They had Monty on side. They even brought IQ in a couple of rounds to deal with the Valkyrie as well. So they've got a few tricks up their sleeve here that can catch Pones off guard if they're not super well coordinated and ready for it.
Heading on to round number 5 then, it's going to be Gym and Bedroom, not going to bar and stage this time around. Rogue, they did try that as their secondary site last time, but I think this just nods towards the more sort of normal rotation, if you will. It's going to be Gym and Bedroom, and then it will likely be CCTV and Cash should they win this one. But as you point out, there is work for them to do over what happened last time. To be honest, they weren't a million miles away. They could do mostly the same thing. They just not got to give away that 4v4 in 25 seconds.
That's it. Yeah, that's 100% it. And I feel like, looking back at the last round, back in round 3, Scyther was the difference maker. If he doesn't walk in there and find that 3k going in through Logi, that round probably does still go the way of Rogue. So let's keep a close eye on it this time around and see if they kind of adapt to that. There's not really much adaptation you can do. You had 2 players inside of Logi ready for that push to come through, and you still lost out. That's just the beauty of Siege sometimes, that no matter if you feel you've got the perfect strategical setup or even the perfect gun skill, stuff can still go against you in the sort of vice versa tactic.
Going to be getting the east breach opened up, so much quicker this time from Pones. They're going to be applying pressure in towards Cash and top red stairs. It's actually an area that they've dealt with very well so far against this Rogue team. We've seen Kanto die at the top red a couple of times. You know, they've been able to work their way in there. I think they've been a little bit more cautious this time about the peak that was potentially coming in from Spoit that we saw last time, so that's not going to be happening. Nitro goes out, not going to do any damage there, so that's Kanto's utility used. Selma charge is deployed onto the wall, and that's going to see Rogue falling back.
And away they go as well. They actually let Kanto out too. Often you'll see someone station themselves on the construction window. If you feel it's safe, that is, of course, you've got to be mindful of jump outs coming in on those south windows from the bedroom and the gym itself. Pones playing it super secure right now as well. A commission now working his way up through garage. You had the Sophia of Exodus down towards lounge stairs. 2 or 3 players looking to push their way up towards top red. So I think Rogue will once again be quite happy that they're burnt through 90 seconds here without really expending anything.
Nico's going to get himself onto the windows. That's obviously the primary purpose of taking over that east side, so that you can play from these angles. And I feel like Rogue here, I commented on it a couple of rounds ago, that they were maybe being a little unnecessarily confrontational or aggressive and, you know, maybe giving opportunities to Pones. This time they've played it a little bit differently. As soon as that cash wall was open, Kanto dipped away, Spoit went with him. They have dipped back. They have given a bit of respect to Pones and said, we're not going to take those fights right in their faces. We're going to try and keep our man count here and play behind it. And that's what we've got right now. Cryan has not been picked up underneath on the Wamai either, I don't think. But obviously without, you know, major explosives such as a Nitro, he does have the impact nades, but without those sort of instant kill Nitros, he's limited in what he can do from underneath. He's going to be trying to play on the hatch for the time being to deny a plant with gunfire more than likely, if that's where they choose to come in, and that's what he's watching for. Could be a cheap kill on the cards for him here if Nico peeks too aggressively.
Very similar to what we saw from Leon previously when they played this site as well, was playing on the downstairs and looking to play the vertical, but in comes the drop. Scyther, yet again, the Demon of Logi finds 2 on the push through. Down go Leon and Kanto. Exodus picks up the next one as well, marching their way forwards, and now Spoit knows the pressure is bearing down on him. Gonna go for a swing, finds 1, finds 2. Will he find 3? No, WTG gets his man. A 3v1. Cryan working his way up. Pokeball comes out, 1, 2, but doesn't down the man. Now he's in a rough position as that plant has yet again gone down from Pones.
You just feel with that plant going down again that Pones have been given an opportunity to win this game with the map pick. Cryan trying to fight his way back into sight, but this is a Pones team that look sharper, that look better at executing than we've seen over the last couple of play days. Nico able to get that final kill, and that's going to be Pones now taking the lead once again. It's 3-2.
Someone has got to ban Scyther from going into Logi, man. He's dangerous when he steps through there. 2 rounds now, he's in it, 3 and 5. Brilliant stuff. Just really opening up control of not just Logi itself, but also the side, because it's so hard to play inside there. Once he's got started and got the aggression going in, you're vaulting over the wall, you're going for a plant in the corner, you've got the cover of the guy that's still inside a secret, for example. Just so much works for you when you get that spot. So through a little bit of brute force and iron will, they've managed to get their way over the line yet again. Pones at 3 and 2. Could make it 4 and 2, Tim. I said 3 and 3 would be a great half for Pones, but I'd still be concerned that Rogue would steamroll them in the second. They make this 4 and 2, we're having a different conversation.
Fresh is hoping that Rogue managed to get this round and go 3-3 on the half. The sweat factor's gone up to 4, I feel, at this point. You know, the worries are probably really starting to kick in about now. The doubts of what might happen if Pones get themselves that 4-2 half. We'll see after this one. There's going to be a big boost on that sweat factor should Pones win this round, I feel, Des. Coming into the final one then, Rogue are going to be defending CCTV and Cash. As I said, that was likely to be the rotation. They've decided not to go gym and bedroom once again. where they're getting aggressive, where they're playing it a little bit more defensively, it hasn't really mattered. Pones have had the answer both times, as you say. That push into logistics particularly dangerous from them. They just seem to have a really good handle on exactly where everybody is, where they're going to be playing. They're pre-firing, hitting shots. Leon was prone, still managed to find the kill against him without a loss, and that really did serve them well. So they managed to open up that breach down at the bottom of Garage, and we're going to have a mission pushing forward on the Monty to kick us off. This could be difficult to hold on to Catwalk.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure this is what Rogue did on their last Playday against Heroic, was employ the Monty in one of the rounds to come. In fact, it was the very first round. It was round 7. They employed the Monty in that round and no round other. It's almost like a mission here is doling back to them exactly what Rogue employed last week against Heroic. So a little bit of a taste of your own medicine, you might say. I don't think they're fully aware of what's going on here or even expected the Monty to come out. There's no Goyo on side, for example. There's only one C4. They've got the smokes to play behind, sure, but that's about it. And there's the first one.
Emission going to take a little bit of damage there, just chip damage as from the impact nade or the Toxic Babe canister in behind him. He's giving him the little shake, the little no thank you. No. He's just telling him how it is. We're going to see the first kill come in. Exodus manages to get Kanto. Crying with a quick trade there, but 4v4, Crying playing underneath, and they'll be aware of this now. So it's something that Pones can deal with, but need to make sure that they do.
Right up close here as Nade's come over the top, and Deepak still finds the kill anyway. Just waiting here for the shield to get lifted, because as soon as he does, he knows exactly what's coming. No 1v1 coming in just yet. Another impact behind. Barely tickles the mission at this point, who is just keeping him very, very busy here looking for these 1v1s. But I love the Monty dance, and he gets the knife for the down. And Mission gets the finish off, and although they lost a man, they do finally get control of Catwalk.
Imagine if Fresh has to dye his hair blue because of a Monty push on Catwalk. Absolutely, honestly, it is just tantalising. Is that possibility? Emission gets himself into sight, really getting aggressive now. He can block the door. He can make this plant very difficult. He's just, very easy to put down, or at least easier. He's just looking to see exactly who is where, which operators are left. He's going to lock that down. They know that Spike's top red. They're going to flash him out. There's an opportunity for Nico to get in and put the diffuser down, and that's exactly what he does. There's going to be no push coming from here. They need to have this cover from the Catwalk. They do. They've got it covered from the breach. Spike gets cut down. Plant successful. Nico manages to get that one. Leon, he's looking to shut down with the shotgun. Manages to down Nico on the breach, but there's still WTG to support, and there's still the Monty proving to be a massive nuisance.
No! Gets his second of the round as well. And Mission was so obnoxious. Holy hell. Just bullying the living death out of them, but fair play to Pones, a super well orchestrated attack, and it just goes back to what's been said about them all season long. They are a map-based team. You get them on a map they're comfortable on. They look night and day to what you see on others, Tim. Think back to Chalet. There's several times we've seen that this stage. Sometimes their attacks, they lack that little bit of bite, but in that round then, they knew what they wanted to do. Their timing was well orchestrated. They just had everything together. It looked fantastic the entire half. Now Rogue have really got to shine in this second half, because the last thing they want, Tim, is to get pulled down into the scrap with M&M and all the teams below them for one of those spots at the major next week.
Talking about shine, Des, I can confirm there is a shine on the forehead of Fresh now, as a few beads of sweat are starting to appear. He's actually on a bottle of water to replace fluids lost as well. Things are getting a little bit serious here in the studio, and the panic is starting to set in as we set in to round 7. It's 4-2 to Pones, and they are doing what at one point in this stage, honestly, Des, would have been quite unthinkable, and that is giving Rogue a real run for their money here. This is Pones down in bottom place. They've been given one of their maps from their limited map pool, and they are showing us what they can do. It's impressive stuff so far.
That was kind of the gambling away from Rogue, was going to a map that Fresh has said a couple of times this stage, I'm just not really convinced that it's with their playstyle. And I don't want to say they're showing it here, because I don't think it's necessarily fair to criticize the playstyle. A lot of that came down to Pones and the pace at which they attacked, the ideas they had, for example. Cider being an absolute shagger, pushing his way through logistics. Just little things like that were all lining up continuously for them. Let's see how the second half plays out. You've got that Kaid on side here, something we didn't see Rogue employ in the first half. Cider, rather than looking to push out aggressively on their own with his team, more looking towards the Nile base slowdown.
Leon's going to be getting that East Breach open. Nice and quick, 30 seconds in. That's going to be job done. No reason not to, as they've got the Thatcher on side. Mute Jammer will remain in place for the time being. Will prevent any drones going in there and feeding information back in, potentially. But that will be easy enough to clear as it's now exposed to the outside as well. We're going to have a breach coming in from the opposite side as well. Jacuzzi wall opened up now, and I like this from Rogue. It's a split push, and it's an aggressive one. Spoit is moving in quickly. We're still inside the first minute here. That barricade being in place is not going to help Spoit there, because he's going to have to announce his position, and that's something that I'm not sure Pones were aware of up until that point.
Well, the Vision's now moving pretty quick up main stairs here as well. The question is if they've got him on a flank drone, because I know Deepak sat on a drone. I don't know if it's an active one. Oh,
they do
no.
indeed.
It's literally right in the corner as well. The nade was about to come over the top, but then called away by the drone itself. And Mission backs himself back down towards basement here as well, as to try and bait out a little bit more time, see if they actively want to commit drones to chasing around the map.
Deepak's going to be using, would guess it, a secondary drone here. It could have been the flank drone that he's just moved away to try and chase that Jaeger to see what's going on. Leon is going to open things up with one onto Exodus, but it's immediately traded out by Nico, even as 4v4. The Mute finding himself a kill there. 1 minute 10 left to go, and the site has been pretty much left alone here, Des. There's a lot of comfort for Pones here inside a site. They've still got the man out on Catwalk. It's either on the Kaid, and Rogue need to get moving here. There's only a minute left.
Yeah. I think it's Tim. We spoke about time quite a lot in the first half as well, right? Think about how fast they were as well. 30 seconds, Spoit is staring down construction door, just waiting for it, and always willing for it to open up as well. Nade's coming in over the top here as well. Nico, a little bit of shit damage used, who sat in the back corner here. Imagine just ready and waiting. MP5K rather than shotgun in hand, so still pretty lethal, but not quite a shotgun at close range as we're so used to seeing. Kanto bearing down towards top red. Rogue really starting to set up for that 3-2-1 execute. If you watch back there, comms VOD, you'll hear them counting down several times across the round. They've got to get this spot on, though.
They certainly do. Spoit is just waiting on that window, looking to get aggressive, pick up anybody rotating side to side or into top red. This is it now. The lines are drawn, and they're going to have to push in. Rogue, 3v4, as they manage to find the first kill. Spoit nearly gets a second onto a mission. He backs away, 3v2, though. Side that goes big once again. There's 2v1. It is now 5 versus 2 on the scoreboard for Pones, and it is looking bleak for Rogue right now. The gamble of the map might just not pay off for them.
They are just slapping them silly at this point, Tim. It's not even again down to the strats that they had in the first half there. They held firm. They took the gunfights once Rogue came pushing in and just completely shut them out the game. No surprise at all. Rogue are saying, right, boys, we've had one attacking round. We've seen enough. Let's slow things down, get those comms back on here, because it is looking pretty dire. This isn't quite the hard-hitting Rogue that we were used to seeing in previous days. Pones might just have their number today.
They certainly might. I can confirm as well that Fresh has decided to take a tactical timeout. He's left the studio for the time being. We're up to a sweat factor of, I'd say, about a 6 out of 10 at the minute. He's starting to look pretty worried. We'll see when he returns.
Make sure he doesn't pass out, right, mate? That's what you've got to watch out for.
Don't worry, I will absolutely look out for his safety. Our entertainment almost doesn't come first, but we will make sure that Fresh is well, but certainly having a little bit of concern on his forehead at the time being. Rogue then will take us into the next round. On the attack, it's going to be round 8, and it's going to be Gym and Bedroom that they are going towards. Top floor once again. I mean, the thing is for Pones, really, all they could hold on to there was sight. Rogue went in, they took the map control, they took construction, they opened the wall up, they pushed in, they got the position, Spike went in through the window even, you know, but they just couldn't get the sight, and that was the key there for Pones. If they can do the same again, fantastic, but it's not going to be easy on this side.
I'm looking at the standings now, Tim, and it's so ropey and it's so hard to call, because really round diff is the #1 tiebreaker that we have, then head-to-head, then match win percentage, so on and so forth. Rogue are currently on +17, and they are miles ahead of anyone else, really. Like, outsiders are -15, they can't possibly catch Rogue. But I'm looking at, like, G2, who are on +2, Heroic, who are on +4. They win convincingly today, and suddenly Rogue's +17 lead they started the day with starts to look a little bit fragile. Pones go on to win 7-2 here. That goes down to +12, and before you know it, Rogue are within striking distance, not just on points, but also in round diff by all those other teams. I can only imagine the scenes if, say, G2 and Outsiders were to fight their way into the top 4 here and knock out a couple of these teams that have looked so secure before today.
Well, I mean, really, what we're potentially looking at as well is G2 and BDS. BDS don't play each other. They've already played each other. You know, so arguably, and I know it's a big ask for G2 at this point in the stage with the performances that they've had, but arguably they could both get themselves onto 15 points if they win their 2 last remaining games. Like you say, it then comes into round if, because Rogue, if they lose both of theirs, will finish on 15. If M&M lose next week, they will finish on 15. We could easily find ourselves with like a 4-way tie here, getting settled initially by round difference, you know, potentially moving on through the factors if anybody's got the same figures. But it's not that wild a world to think G2 and BDS get themselves a couple of back-to-back wins this week and next week. You know, that is absolutely possible. So this is why I say about Rogue, it's only 1 point. But it's 1 point that you absolutely have to get, because let me tell you, stranger things have happened at sea.
At sea and in the server.
Certainly have. I've said it before. I tell you what, Des, we sat there all night at the Mexico Major saying, we're not going to cast the second game. We're not going to have to cast the deciding game between Team 1 and Cyclops.
True.
They need this one specific scoreline. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Bang. We were up till 3 a.m. casting that second game.
Worth it all the way through. That nade maybe not so worse from Kanto. Scyther having an absolute steamer today so far. 10 and 5, normally a mission the player be speaking about in those kind of situations, but though he's going well, isn't quite as sharp as he has been. But who needs it when your team is fragging out? Your team ain't fragging out. It's Deep Bet Laughter Live. It's flawless. Pones spanking Rogue.
This is not looking good for Rogue right now. They just seem to have they've fallen into shambles. They've fallen apart. I can confirm with Fresh, we've got head in hands. Sweat factor's up to about a good 8 nowadays. We really are reaching a peak here. You know, he's trying to laugh it off. He's trying to keep the spirits up. But, you know, I'd like to say I know Fresh pretty well, and I can see that he's concerned.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he was on the socials too. I've got the blessing of being at home where I've got multiple screens I can use for all kinds of shenanigans. And one of those is watching Fresh's Twitter like a hawk. And he tweeted, I'm going to look class with blue hair. F you all. Let's go Pones.
That's like the meme. Do you know the meme where the guy, like, it seems like he's won and he's biting a medal and he showers himself in champagne and then he's right down on the bottom of the pedestal? That's basically, that tweet is the equivalent of that meme.
All you don't know, you don't see in the background on every single time you see that meme is someone walking in with like putting gloves on. They've got like a nice little bowl made up with like blue hair dye inside of it as well. They're just ready to go.
May well rue the day that he made that claim. We will see. I want to give a shout to Pones as well. You know, the focus on Fresh's hair aside, Pones are putting in a good performance here. I think that Rogue are making mistakes. They're giving them opportunities. As I said, they've, you know, maybe taken a few fights that were overly aggressive. They're just coming in trying to get the job done. But like I've said, I'm a little bit concerned about giving Pones this map, giving him the opportunity to go here. You know, and sort of almost, and I could be wrong in this mentality, but the mentality of, you know, we only need 1 point out of 2 games. For me, just get that done immediately, as soon as you can, whatever it takes. If it's your best map, take it and do it, because you're not going anywhere without it.
It's really stacking things up inside of here as well. I think realising maybe positioning of this is quite important if you don't want to also blow up, say, the Electro Core in the same beat. We've seen so many teams do this, Tim.
We've complained about it so often.
We have indeed, where teams just place the magnets far too close to other utility and it basically may as well not exist at all. If nothing else, you're doing them a helping hand by being in that kind of position. Now, Leon is in. He's got dirt control here. The smoke's going to start coming out, but he pushes in deep. The problem is here, Tim, you might get yourself a little bit sandwiched. Another one goes in deep, but all 3
This
mits.
is great.
This is unbelievable. Crine also gets the kill. WTG had a real fart moment there. Not looking so hot. They wait for the smoke to time out. They've still got 2 minutes to go, Tim.
That's a big mistake there, coming in from WTG on the smoke, burning all 3 canisters and not doing a lick of damage to the Monty. Leon coming along here and saying, Amision, I see you big Monty players, and I'm going to double down and show you I can do it better. He's looking to keep being aggressive, moving himself on through Dirt Tunnel, and that is a job well done. Inside half of the round, he's got Dirt Tunnel control. He's moved them on. You know, Pones aren't able to play in those positions that they wanted to now. They've been pushed back out onto secondary angles. Kanto's looking to be the eye in the sky, pressuring from above here. He's got the yellow ping. This nade's got to be successful. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang. A beauty from Kanto.
Leon's just waiting for someone to open that door and invite him in at this point because he's so close to being able to do so. But even stood outside, looking in through the glass, he can feed all this information back and forth to the team. C4 comes out. Kanto does get dropped, but not yet finished off.
going to be an opportunity to collect him here. Spoit is going to do exactly that. Somehow
Where's the fuse at?
Kanto, I think, had been blown up so hard, he'd actually blown up onto the countertop there. So he's going to be, I think he was actually probably stood up there beforehand. But Nade comes in again. It's not going to have the same success onto Exodus as it did onto Scyther. Exodus is going to continue watching that hatch. He could play spoiler here, Des. 40 seconds left to go. The Monty goes in, doesn't see him, and that's an absolute freebie. And it puts Diffuser down inside a site, but Leon continues his slow march on, gets the kill with the pistol. Kanto onto Exodus after being picked up from beyond the grave. It's all up to Nico in a 1v3. Doesn't see his man inside a church. It's going to be Deepek unseen that does the damage, and he's going to find that final kill. Rogue managed to get themselves another. That's 3-6.
So much of that round was won in dirt as well. The really aggressive push forward from Leon, pushing past the point of smokes, WTG burning out all three, then losing his life anyway. That's like disastrous. You give your team no time to be able to adapt. You've lost your smoke as well. Things have to shift and adapt to that defense to not leave any holes. It was just looking messy from that point forward. So well played by Leon and by Crine, who was supporting him on the push down dirt as well. Clearly caught Pones a little bit off guard there.
In we come then to round number 10. Pones going to be heading back to CCTV and Cash. It's the site they were able to lock down at the beginning of all of this. Back in round number 7, their first defense. But what I would say is that Rogue were actually pretty good at attacking this site. They got themselves all the control they needed across the construction. They were able to push directly into sites. Ultimately, it came down to lost gunfights that cost them the round more than anything. And another big play from Scyther. How many times have we said that today? Currently sitting on 10-6 and leading the team fantastically well. They're going to need more of the same, I would imagine, because Rogue are going to continue that aggression. There's no Monty being brought along this time, so that one's been put on the back burner for now. It will give Scyther the opportunity to hold on to that catwalk again if it's ultimately him playing up there. And Rogue, they need to have an answer to that because it did cost them last time.
Alrighty, well, Exodus already holding pretty aggressive here out towards Gym Door. I don't know if he's hoping that someone's going to come just strolling in past him or what, but there was a drone. Yep, he finds it as well, shoots it out before he makes his way back out towards Red Stairs. So he's going to be careful out towards storage as well. Often get players looking to push in on the single doorway, knowing especially that Pones have been playing things like this Kaid quite a bit. Without the Maverick on side, you're going to have to lean here instead of getting rid of that with things like nades on the push through. Or potentially, of course, leaning in towards the Thatcher, tricking a bit harder with the Electro Claw. Although it is still plausible and possible to do.
It's one of those rounds that you just feel like an explosive moment from either side could end this one quite quickly. For the time being, Leon is going to open up the east barricade, and the reason I said that was we had Exodus floating around that garage door. He thinks better of it and dips himself away, but sometimes it's those moments that just catapult you into the win as well. Exodus still on the downstairs of the garage. We're going to have the same flank drone put in place by Spoit that we saw work well in the previous time that this was defended. We had a Mission trying to creep up those main stairs, but Deepek did spot him out and prevented what would have been probably a catastrophic end to the round. Spoit manages to get himself established inside a construction, a little bit slower than last time by about 25 seconds, but still good pace from Rogue here, plenty of time to work with.
Probably a bit of a read on, we know that's going to be barricaded. We know we can't just walk straight into sight, so why rush it, right? Take things a little bit slower here. Let's get 2 or 3 of us all squaring up together, make that push as a team happen, and so far, so good. No one has gone down. So now they've got this west side of the control of the map. They've got the breach open out on the east. So their game plan at the moment is to ignore catwalk. And I imagine you won't try and get all 3 sides. They just want to make sure that no one can play on the breach, for example, and should be able to push things forward from here. Impact over the top completely misses out. They finally get rid of the next one. So you've got 2 wonderful Hibana-shaped holes opened up on the wall that no one can step through. So now you're looking towards those Salmas once again and saying, okay, can the last one connect? Assuming, of course, Deepek didn't use the third one elsewhere, but you can't turn towards the thermite, for example, to get that open. You need those Salmas.
No, absolutely not. There's no other option. I'm avidly waiting for Deepek to come off his drone. He did just come off for a second there and can confirm that he does have another Selma in pocket. It is going to need to be used, but look, the wall is electrified. More utility having to be used to clear off that claw. Let's just have a quick look down that side. There's no impacts left, but there are nitros. There is potentially the option. They don't take it here. They allow that wall to be breached. Exodus just putting a goo mine in there. Smoke canister going to go out. Spoit takes a lungful of that. 28 seconds. Rogue needs to get moving, and Spoit does just that.
And Nico trying to move underneath here. Really good spot to be in if Rogue aren't aware of this. If there's no drone on the downstairs, they could be walking into a little bit of death, but no, just about make it out. 2 kills come through, though. A Mission, WTG shining bright. It's down to the last 3.
Dear oh dear, the diffuser is going down. Rogue have got no answer to this. Pones are playing fantastically well, but then Spoit, he goes in and does Spoit things. 2v1, Deepek is planting, keeping that clock going, and it's all up to WTG as he comes back up the red stairs. Spoit's aware though, he manages to do a lot of damage to WTG there, who does evade him and can continue fighting, but no, ultimately shut down by Spoit. And the relief from Rogue is real at that point, because they thought they were going away completely empty-handed. I think after that round it did look like it was heading in Pones' direction, but they just couldn't quite hold on like they did back in round 7.
A Spoit 4K. That's what the fans paid to come and, or didn't pay to come and seat him. The beauty and all that really is that keeps them going for a bit longer. Pones now realising, all right, these boys are starting to warm their way back up. Let's see what we can do about this. As it's trying to shape things up right now, though, I think for Pones, you could chalk that one round off and say, okay, look, it's happened. Spoit's gone a little bit nuclear. He very nearly zaps himself to death on the breach wall, for example, where the electrical was. That round could have gone very different if he had stayed there for even one more tick. So it really did come down to the wire.
Interestingly, and spotted by our wonderful observer, Easy, nothing gets past him, I can assure you of that. I commented at the time when they were going for the final Selma onto the construction wall that there was the potential for Pones to deploy nitros. It was, it's a high-cost utility item, but at the same time, the reward of taking the Selma charge off that wall would have been massive at that point. They did actually attempt it. One was thrown up through the hatch, but it was actually shot out by Spoit there. So a huge round from Spoit coming in there, not only enabling them to get the breach open, but also finding the final kills to keep the dream alive and enable Deepek to be able to get that diffuser down. Really big round, cannot overstate the impact of that potentially, as we find ourselves now 4-6 on the scoreboard and Rogue still fighting.
And up towards gym and bedroom we go. We spoke about this site. It seems to be where both teams have been made and broken on this map. Team, just recalling this play again. Spoit, again, it made me so nervous when he was down to a slither of HP, but still manages to pull the play off. We're going to see that extended hold coming out where countless times, I think twice, it's not really countless, is it? It's 2. Pones found the cells burning down about 1 minute and 45, 2 minutes on the clock, and still managed to make it work thanks to Scyther pulling off a hero play on his charge through Logi. For Rogue, who's going to don the cape? Who's going to be Superman?
I've got to say, it's not often that I see Fresh jump out of his seat and throw a few fist pumps around, but that was the case after that round. He really did think that that was the race.
Just passionate, Tim. Just passionate.
Just passionate about not having blue hair, I think, is the key. Right, we head in then to round number 11. Pones 6-4 and another match point opportunity. Rogue have won the last 2 rounds now. It was 6-2. You got to bear that in mind. There is going to be a potential mental toll on Pones as well. Now we saw their tactical timeout coming in. Not too much of a surprise. C4 goes out, shot out by Spoit again. He's clocking up the total on those nitros at the minute.
Yeah, no real biggie there. I think he expected aggression to come in from a swing, but still managed to flick onto the C4 before it could be pulled, so we'll keep his life at least for now. They know now that at least there's a couple of players hanging around this top side. One at top red here, not inside of cash, sorry. They've already backed their way down towards storage instead. Leon with the EMP on the wall as well, be able to get this exothermic off for free. Away goes the bandit charge. And now they have a direct point through into Logi if they want to play that side.
Yeah, this is pretty good from Rogue. It's nice and quick. You feel that they've really got themselves sort of switched on at this point. Kanto just luring in Exodus there as Deepek manages to get the Selma on the wall, and it was all he needed. The bandit stepped forward, couldn't even apply the battery before Kanto cut him down for a big opener. Rogue looking like they've really turned up in the last couple of rounds.
I don't know, maybe there was a miscommunication that they didn't have control of CC anymore, because that's what you need. Cover from CC window onto the south bow to stop a player being able to sit on gym window and challenge you when you're going for the trick. It's one of those, if you're playing with a bandit, you've really got to commit to it. They did try, they then backed away, but it feels like a small miscom coming out from Pones.
Spoit pushes his way into construction as Leon finds one. He gets another. Scyther cuts down Kanto, but then the trade is there from Leon. And this is looking more like the peak Rogue that we've seen over the last few weeks, over stage 2. They're working together. They're hitting at the same time. They're there for the trades. They're taking man after man. And this is looking better for them. They've got 3 rounds in a row. They are now 5-6. One more round will secure the Berlin Major for them. They won't care about the result beyond that, so long as they can get themselves to overtime.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. If Outsiders hadn't have won, they'd probably already be in a spot where they're basically guaranteed at this point based on round diff alone. But with Outsiders being sat on 10 points, They are still catchable until they get over that threshold. Outsiders can't catch them. They're on -15 to the +17 of Rogue. That 30-round difference, not coverable across these 2 days, even if it were 7-0s across every game still to go. So they know what they need to do. This one round, Tim, and they finally get themselves that lock-in spot at the major.
That's it. It certainly doesn't lock them into second place, but it does guarantee them Berlin, which is, you know, what every org is immediately looking for. After that, you can worry about the vanity of exactly where you finish in that top 4, but it's not going to be massively relevant in the grand scheme of things. CCTV Cash will be our final regulation round as Pones look to close this out. A 3-point victory for them here, and making Rogue wait for next week to confirm that position in the major could be huge for Pones. They've had a tough stage of it. They've struggled to get wins. We've seen multiple performances on Chalet with teams just focusing on taking them there, and they've been struggling to play it and get on top of it. But put them on Clubhouse here, put them on a map they are familiar with, and they are showing the quality that is there.
I just like how they've had both teams really just, you know, holding nothing back across both of their attacking halves. If Rogue do this, we're on for that 4-2-4-2 split. I don't think he finds a man here. Surely not. Goes for the run out. Oh, deep extra. The thing is, I swear I've seen that before. I've just had a mad sense of deja vu. That I swear I've seen someone try to run out on deep ek before, and he's dealt with them that casually as well.
Exodus taken down there. Not really the start that Pones were looking for. 5 versus 4. No damage on the side of Rogue either. So that was just a complete net loss there. Nico going to take damage as well on the Wamai, leaving us now in a 5v4. Leon looking to get these breach open. It's been a little bit slower than it has been previously on this site, but still well within a reasonable time. First minute, and that is going to be the breach open. Spike manages to find Nico.
Dear.
And this, for the life of me, looks like it's going to overtime at this point. 5 versus 3. And Rogue have just absolutely kicked it up a gear or two these last few rounds.
Yeah, Pones have started to kind of poke and prod in this round, see what they can do, and run out here, check out of a window there. But Rogue, you're playing against the Masters of Monkey here, Tim. They know exactly what they're doing. That said, one does slip through the net here, gets springing up into the trees, and Mission finds the kill. I've already mentioned a couple of times this game has been one of the more quiet members on the team. Everyone getting themselves involved, but Scyther has been the hero of the moment. This could be a great round for Mission to go absolutely nuclear. Deepek
is doubly important now. He needs to keep himself alive because they don't have the hard breach for construction side. If that is the push they are wanting to make. Kanto continues going into construction to join him and to prevent that exact same run out once again. Diffuser has been collected here, but they are playing towards that wall. A Mission on the bandit. Spike cuts him down. That leaves us now 4v2. 4v1 as Crying gets Scyther. We're going to overtime, Des. As Spike finds that final kill, and that leaves us now 6-6, and Rogue are confirmed for Berlin.
The thing is, for Rogue, they just wanted to get to this point. What happens now? They're playing for a little bit of pride. They've got the point they need.
Hair.
They've got and Fresh's hair as well. Yeah. Did he say regulation win or just win by any means?
He said if Pones win, still on the line.
All right,
still on the line as far as I'm concerned.
Taking him to his word then, are we? Like literally to the letter of the law.
All the way to 15, Des.
I mean, his blessing here really is that Rogue are the ones on attack. They get that double bite at the cherry, you should say, Tim. Double bite at the cherry on the attacking side. We'll see what they can pull off. But looking at Pones, I'm looking at this comp, Tim, and you know I get excited when I see this kind of thing. You see a castle, you see a mutant Mozzie, you can afford to drop one away if you want. It's going to be a roam out and about around the map with the end goal of making the attackers lose as much time as possible. What I'm watching for now is if Rogue go for a really saucy attacker repick. If they drone this out and see what's going on, they pick something and just hit the site hard. There it is, the Monty, direct to site. I'm ready for this.
That's exactly what is likely to happen. As you say, Leon, he's going to get down that dirt tunnel again. Pones didn't have an answer to it last time, really. Got himself inside a site, got himself a kill. You know, it was really well played, really well worked. WTG on the smoke. I don't like to pick players out, but you got to do better in dirt tunnel.
I mean, yeah. WTG was the one last time round that, being blunt, messed it up. 3 smokes, not a single tick of damage on towards Leon. That was entirely on him, and that's something he's got to get more correct this time around. Though no reinforcement coming through, I think, onto... Okay, they've just left it. Left it completely soft so they can push through without having to use any hard breach here. They were ready with Leon. Maybe just arguing, well, we don't need that, but they've still got 4 reinforcements in back pocket, Tim. I'm curious to know what else they haven't reinforced around bottom floor, potentially up on first and second.
Leon just going to be spotting out the goo mine as well, so an adaptation there with the mission being on the Legion just to, again, try and prevent that progress from the Monty.
A triple wall left soft as well. WTG is literally the last bastion, but look at the smoke again. They've got past him here, Tim. Going for the 1v1, dodging away from the bullets. Almost gets tagged out by, I can only imagine it's Crying, following him on the down here as well. Leon gets shot in the foot though. WTG making amends for last time.
Much, much better from WTG there. The support from Emission coming in clutch. That Goo-mine just able to force Leon back into a bad spot. He had to do something about it. He couldn't leave it stuck in his leg. And WTG taking full advantage of that, breaking his movement of having to push back, having to move away from the aggressive style he was bringing. A lot of damage done, and that's a kill. Emission onto Kanto. And this is Pones looking good. 5v3 now.
For all I said about that hitting the site direct here, Tim, they've tried their best, but they've just had an answer. Spoit gets one back. He's been nuclear the last 5 rounds or so. Looking back at the last one, especially 2 or 3 kills. He got outside of a window, just letting Pones run at him. Nico finding one back on the other side as he gets a little bit too aggressive there. Pones in a wonderful spot to win the defensive round that they so sorely need. One attack in the next round, they get the win.
It certainly could be a possibility for them, but the job is not done yet. Deepek moving down Dirt Tunnel, Crying supporting from Blue Corridor. It looks like Rogue are pretty confident, Pones are pretty confident in those final positions. Crying, however, does get Scyther, and that is a great start for them. Deepek going to use a Selma to take down the shield that's in his way. Toxic Vape canister goes out, and that's just going to burn a little bit more time. Can't push in through that smoke, or will at least take a lot of damage if he does. Emission with a Goo-mine in hand. Might just hold on to that one for a second or two until he's confident of where this push is coming from. 30 seconds left to go. They don't have the option of opening a hatch. They can only half open and get a peek if they wish to, but it looks like instead Deepek's going to head down the main stairs, and there goes the Goo-mine from Emission. That could be a big play, but if Deepek finds it, it's going to be wasted.
Well, he's hit it anyway. He's still going to keep on walking down here, hoping to catch someone entirely off guards. Just took into the right here as well, remove that Goo-mine. It's not super ideal as it just keeps on chugging away at that HP. It doesn't feel like a lot, but it will add up over these next 5 seconds or so. Here comes the step through. 2 easy kills for Pones. They get the defensive round they needed, Tim. This next round goes their way in attack. It ain't going to mean tons to Rogue, but it's still points that help Pones in that relegation battle.
That's it. It's still very, very important in the grand scheme of things here. Pones, like you say, are looking towards the end of the year here. They're not just looking to everything right in front of us. Right, so Rogue, confirmed for Berlin, but still looking for a big win. Overall, like I said, the vanity does come into it a little bit. They want that second place. They want to be up there challenging, maybe even the top spot, looking towards Wolves if they can get within striking distance. And that means, in fact, no, I don't think they can now. They were on 15. No, this is going to put them on 17. Wolves are on 18. So it is still doable for them in the final week to leapfrog and take the top spot if they should so wish, depending what happens in the later games today, of course, with Wolves. 7-6 then. We're heading down to Church and Arsenal, and this could be our final round as Rogue are on the defence. They have to get this one locked down. If we look to what happened last time, Church and Arsenal, round 1, round 4, both were Rogue wins.
You say could be the last round, Tim, but last I checked, you and I were pretty good at getting to round 15 of most games.
We don't do 14 rounds.
Nah, we're not about that 14 round love. It may as well go all the way at this point. We've got right up towards the very end of things. Either way, Rogue now looking to bring out their own very aggressive roam out and about around the map. No Mute Mozzie pairing on side, just the Mute instead, but they do have the Oryx. The big difference is, look at this. Pones back on the same rush once again. The same way this game started could be exactly the same way that it ends. Kanto's ready. C4 over the top. They're leaping at it. One comes through, but they get the trade out straight away. Held back by the smoke. This is where things will slow down. And this is beautiful because it will give the rest of Rogue time to get back to the site, Tim.
Yep, well played by Rogue there. Almost in a 4v3 as Scyther takes a lot of damage as well, leaving us now very close to possibly decisive kills coming in this round. And it's still very early. That's why I mentioned that we're only 40 seconds in, and this has been very, very aggressive. We've still got Emission running around on the blitz, looking to cause a nuisance, a bit of a nightmare, chasing those roamers. Spoit is now moving back down the main stairs with Crying in tow, and that's a minute wasted and a kill found, so not a bad start for Rogue.
Yeah, hardly well done, but I don't think you'll complain too much as well as the thermite that's gone down. Knowing how this round was setting up, how there's quite a lot of soft walls around the map at this point. It's not the end of the world. Maybe a hatch or two can go your way, and that's what you're looking towards instead here. But Emission has still got the ability to be the tip of the spear. The only concern is that Rogue now know there is a blitz on side. And what do you do when a blitz comes running at you? You basically 2v1 him. You have a cross angle set up. You wait for him to push in. You can't take you both on at the same time. It is, I'm not going to say easy to get a response, but it's far from being the most difficult thing in the world.
There we go. Confident now that the top floor is clear. We can see Pones have started to move down. Nico was actually ahead of the blitz of Emission as well, all the way down to the bottom of main stairs now. 1 minute 15 left to go, so they've still got time on their side. That's not a major problem, but the lack of hard breach could be. They're going to have to flood themselves into site here and look to take fights, look to take kills, and Cider being low health is certainly not going to help with that. We can see an attempt at a nitro there, not going to do the job. Deepek just missing his mark. 1 minute left to go, and Rogue just need to hold on.
This smoke might be enough, though, for Pones to get themselves pushing through. If this blitz comes steamrolling in towards Moto, Spoit's as good as dead. There's no one here to trade him, for example. But I don't think they 100% know that Spoit's inside that spot right now. They were looking more to smoke off the actual feet-level holes that you can see. There's one lay down. They know about him as well. Another smoke coming through here. Do they charge their way through? Do they know about Spoit? Here comes the charge. He aims for the feet as well. A mission coming in here. This will get real messy, and Spoit does the right thing and charges out of dodge.
Yep, just wastes the time. That's all he needed to do there, was just prevent that rush, reach inside. Manages exactly that. Then goes in and finds the kill. Crying doubles down. Crying goes for a double himself, and that is Cider out of it. 3v1. Exodus, 15 seconds left to go, and this is going to be a huge play from the Zafir if he can get himself in and finish this, but no, Crying with a triple, and that's going to be Rogue taking us all the way to 15.
I was about to say, Tim, say the line. Say the line.
I don't need telling twice, Des.
Do it again.
I don't need asking once. Do it again. We're going all the way to 15, Des.
That's what I was looking for, Tim. Absolutely we are. Again, at this point for Rogue, they've made the major. That's very now clear to everyone. Again, for Pones, this is big towards the bottom side of the table, and that's what I'm excited about seeing here, is how that scrap really starts to warm up next season with how well Secret have been playing over the last few games. And Gym and Bedroom is going to be the final bastion here, being held down by Pones, and they will attempt to hold Rogue off to walk away with the 2 points. If they fail, it's Rogue walking away with 2 on the board instead.
Oh, it all gets decided now, and this has been...
What's the sweat factor, Tim?
The sweat factor at the minute is pretty high. We've had ebbs and flows throughout. Every time Rogue get around, get ahead, you know, Fresh seems to calm down a little bit. But he's certainly, as I would like to say, on the edge of his seat right now.
And so he should be. On the edge of his hair also being dyed blue. In terms of how setup's coming through, we've seen this again a million times over. I love the kind of like main focus point of this map for me has continuously been this site as well as Gym and Bedroom, especially around this east side hold. The times when they have got it wrong, Pones, in terms of mistiming. They've tried to trick onto Jacuzzi Wall when they didn't have CC control, and they then lost to the player that was playing on Gym Window. Cantor, that was in the last round. The time when they burnt their way through logistics with only 30 seconds on the clock and killed 3 people. Just all these little stories that have weaved throughout this 15-round banger so far, it all comes to a head on that site. Could not think of a better place for it to end on. Well, that is exactly where it will end. We've got the attention being paid over to the east side by Pones, but a little direct approach to west at the minute as Leon is going to open up Jacuzzi Wall very quickly for Rogue. It's something that they've done fantastically well, is get themselves set up, get the access that they need and attack quite quickly so far, Rogue. Spoit has moved in 16-9 on the day, having an absolute worldie at the minute and really pushing himself through this game and carrying Rogue along with him, and they could do with a big round from him right now. I mean, anyone can very, very merrily step up here. Yeah, I look down the boards and blew him sky high. That's the kind of kill you want. I was going to say, outside of Leon, who's the hard support, by the way, been having a great game playing in that role, getting things open where required. Clearly less so here, but he's the only one that's been quiet. Everyone else has really got themselves involved up and down the leaderboard. WTG with one back onto Spoit, who just a few seconds prior naded out Exodus on the upstairs. It's tit for tat between these two teams. That's from hero to zero for Spoit inside of this round. Great opener with the nade, but then completely caught out underneath. Just able to sneak through the drones, essentially, there, Pones, and get their opportunity. Leon has an angle into sight. I've got a feeling for Rogue here. They've got themselves well established. The drone goes. They know there's somebody main
stairs now. Kantor's aware of that. Yeah, I feel like Rogue have got themselves positioned well here. There's plenty of time to go, and they're waiting. They're waiting for that moment, that 3-2-1 call. And when they do push, all they got to do is win those gunfights. They could do with a little bit more influence from Kantor underneath.
Those vertical nades really were going to be the big part of the round. We've seen it used so much by Rogue, but obviously Kantor has got none left. Cider gets one. The trades are coming back and forth everywhere. It's come down to a 2v2. Why wouldn't it, with 45 seconds on the clock?
You know this is going all the way to 1v1 with the way that this game has gone.
I hope
but
so.
For the time being, it's 2v2. It's 37 seconds left to go. WTG is inside of construction, just trying to hold on. Crying, he just peeks away, maybe at the wrong moment. There could have been an opportunity there. Kantor, he goes in. The challenge comes in from construction door. WTG going to fight his way back. He's joined by Nico. Now then, Rogue might be aware that both players are still in the construction side. Crying goes for the challenge, but they're going to have to go in and think about getting a diffuser down potentially. There's 15 seconds left to go. Kantor has the diffuser in hand. He could potentially move through into Jim and get it down. They don't know. They don't know that they're both in there, at least not confidently. I think they do now. Kantor thinks about getting the case down. They're looking for men. They're going to lose this on time at this rate if Kantor doesn't go for it. He starts. Crying needs to have the cover, but no! WTG with the final kills, and in a 15-round thriller, Pones take the win on Clubhouse.
They did it for the blue hairdo, Tin. They did it for the blue hairdo. Cannot wait to see Fresh in a couple of weeks looking nice and blue. But for Pones, they are anything but blue. 2 big points there against one of the best teams that we've got in the league. That's the kind of outcome you wanted to see, even with Spoit having an absolute cracker of a day.
Oh, dear, oh dear. A great win there, a great win coming in for Pones. Got to give them credit where it's due. That final round, they played it very well, just left Rogue completely guessing, no idea where they were coming in from, and it worked a treat. I mean, I'm not a cruel person. I'm not one to necessarily hold for it. I'm sure we can come to some sort of arrangement, but I know you can be a little bit different, Des, so.
Tim, he's dyeing his hair blue.
I mean, you did shave your eyebrow off, to be honest, so.
Both eyebrows in the end.
True.
I mean, they've kind of struggled to grow back a little bit. They look all right here in this light, to be fair, but they did struggle at the time, to be fair. I'll take it at how they are now. But, Tim, screamer of a game. Really happy Pones have managed to fight their way back there, get those 2 points. Look, it's still a long hill to climb when it comes round to relegation in Stage 3, but the confidence the boys will take from that, because it wasn't the admission show today. Every single one of them showed up in the server.
Well, that is it for that matchup, the second one of the night. We've got 3 more yet to come and plenty more decisions to be made, particularly watching those 2 games with G2BS and see how they go in their chase as well. So don't you go anywhere. We're going to have a quick break, and then we'll be over to the analyst desk to break that one down.